Welcome to the Food Clues podcast, where we dive deep into the world of holistic health and wellness, conquering your food allergies and intolerances one bite at a time. I'm your host, Dr. Alexis Sams, holistic physical therapist, food allergy specialist, but you can call me the food allergy doc. With this podcast, I'm all about helping you conquer your food allergies naturally. Through my unique Food Clues treatment approach, I've helped hundreds of people uncover the root causes of their food reactions and achieve true freedom from allergies and intolerances by identifying the missing links between their trigger foods and the underlying causes driving those triggers. In each episode, I'll be sharing the latest in my holistic health practices. I'll also be sharing transformative success stories. I'll bust some common myths surrounding healthcare and food allergy management and provide practical tips to support your healing journey. Whether you're struggling with chronic food allergies or looking for natural ways to manage other symptoms and enhance your well-being, this podcast is for you. Today's episode is packed with insights and actionable advice for better health that's right up your alley. So let's get started on the path to a happier, healthier you. Hey there, thank you for joining me again today. I'm gonna go right to today's topic. It's been on my mind to talk about for a while, just to continue to offer more help, give more information in this whole food allergy and intolerance journey that we're all on for just better health and living just a better life and getting really the things that we want out of our life. So I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to talk about 5 things that I have found that doctors usually don't talk about that really impact not only your general health, but more specifically, your ability to resolve and conquer your food challenges. Now, before I get into it, let me just put this out here. This is not a doctor bashing, anything like that. I have lots of friends who are doctors. I think doctors are great. They do a great job. This has nothing to do about a negative energy or a negative light being shined on doctors. What I do want to do is kind of just reveal kind of like the missing links or just little opportunities, little shifts in perspective that I have found are really the key to that healing journey and that successful healing that my clients experience that helps them resolve their food reactions and get them back to living the life that they want, enjoying those people, places, and foods without the fear, without the anxiety of their food reactions impacting their life or impacting their health. So now that that is said, let's go ahead and jump into the 5 things. So the first thing that I feel like isn't necessarily discussed, that doctors don't necessarily express when they are giving the care that they're giving, is that symptoms can often be resolved when the treatment focuses more on the external factors and maybe the bigger picture driving the reactions and not just the reactions themselves. We throw around that word root cause a lot, and I think it's with good intention and good measure, but I think where the root cause actually lies is where things can either make or break the treatment, make or break your success in achieving that food allergy freedom goal. So for me, a root cause, or I call them external factors, because that's actually what I found to be the unique difference, or that little, like I said, missing link. Root causes are external to the body. So unless your food allergy resolution or your food allergy or intolerance treatment program focuses on addressing any factors from the outside that have impacted your body inside, then you may be leaving a huge healing opportunity or a huge factor on the table that isn't being addressed, and that may be contributing to why you're spinning your wheels in your food allergy treatment. I'll give you a couple of examples. They're very common. They're going to be like your infections, your toxicities, unresolved healing from surgeries or old injuries, things from the environment or things that have happened to your body. They did not originate inside of your body. Those are the things that might be holding you back. Or I should say the lack of attention to those external factors may be one of the things holding you back. When you consider your food reactions as one, a symptom of one of those external factors that's been unaddressed, and number two, part of the food allergy experience equation and not just the only issue, that's when you start to see what could be missing in your treatment that could be holding you back ultimately. All right, number two. Second thing that's kind of not being talked about that I found is that normal test results, or like a negative test results, or the inconclusive findings, one, they do not mean that you don't have an allergy or intolerance. If you get a test result that is, like I said, negative, inconclusive, it's normal reading, but you're still having symptoms, those two things can definitely coexist. And the number one things that it means is that whatever the test was designed to pick up on is not where the either the external factor or the internal issue, that's not where the problem that's driving your food reactions lies, which can be good information if you're kind of trying to narrow down and find what is driving your food reactions. So we'll just speak generally. So let's say you go to an allergist and get a skin prick test, and your skin prick test comes out, and I'm just using this as an example, it comes out like normal for everything that they tested for, but you're still having like a hives, or you're still having like an itching response when you eat certain foods, you're still having those allergic reaction symptoms, or you're still having like belly pains and things that more people associate with intolerances. All that usually means is that the puzzle pieces, the factors that are driving those reactions, more than likely are not concentrated. One, they're either not concentrated in your skin tissue, they're concentrated in another area of your body or another tissue, and that's what's driving your reaction. Or it can also mean that they are that the driving issue is present in the skin, but not at a significant amount. How should I say? At a significant level, at a significant like intensity at the time of the testing. I will say a classic example of this would be, even though skin can be involved, skin can be like one of the factors, your circulatory system, your blood and your lymph vessels run throughout the skin, all over your body, and very close to the skin surface. So sometimes skin tests can, I believe, or I feel, can also pick up things that are happening or reactions that are going on in the blood as well. And if you haven't reached a critical mass of the issue at the time of testing, then the test won't come back. It'll come back like normal. You don't really have a problem at that time. If you haven't necessarily like been exposed to your trigger recently, or you're on a medication, you've, mistakenly, or there was, a mix in communication and you accidentally like took an antihistamine or something like before you went and did your test. Some things can pull down the reactive processes going on that cause your food reactions. And at the time that your test is taken, you may not necessarily test positive for it. So, again, I think the point that I wanted to make is I hear so many clients, or I hear so many stories of people being told that just because one test comes back negative, they're being told that, you just don't have an allergy. And that does not necessarily, those two things do not necessarily equate. If you have symptoms, you do have something going on. It may just not be in the area where the test was designed to assess or pick up. So that is number two. Moving on to number three. This one, let me finish the whole statement, because this one kind of ruffles feathers sometimes. Okay, so number three that isn't necessarily told or isn't necessarily expressed in the doctor's office. An overactive immune system is likely not the cause of your food allergies or an intolerance, but we'll stick with allergies because allergies are more related to the immune system link. Like I said, hold your horses. Because I'm not saying that the immune system is not involved. It's definitely involved. But I do think, again, missing link, opportunity for healing. Um, if we're looking at the immune system as just the cause and we're really just focusing on trying to get the immune system in check, remember that the immune system is the main connecting point, or one of the main connecting points, I should say. It's one of the main connecting points between your body and how your body perceives and interacts with the environment. Meaning your immune system takes in the air, the water, which means it takes in the germs, the toxins. It takes in lots of things from your environment, and, or I guess I should say, it is primed to identify and work with or against things with from the environment as it comes into your body. So my point with that is that the immune system is highly a reactive system, in the sense that the immune system goes to town, it goes to work, it does its job as a reaction in response to, maybe I should say that, it's a responsive system. It works and functions in response to things from the external environment as they come into your body. So it's almost like if you have tunnel vision for just trying to control the response without taking into consideration what's coming into the body to create that response, that could be part of the missing link. So that's what I mean by your overreactive immune system is not the cause. It's definitely involved, but when you're talking about the cause, it kind of circles back to those external factors that we were talking about. Your immune system, I say this all the time, no part of your body just wakes up in the morning and says, I just think I'll be dysfunctional. I just think I'll be sick. I just think I'll, won't feel good. I just think I'll stop working. Your body systems, and in this case, your immune system, it does not overreact. It does not reduce its function or its purpose spontaneously. It happens in response to something that your body's encountered. And more than likely, the thing that your body has encountered is from the external environment. So neglecting to look at environmental factors and how your body's been dealing with environmental factors can be a huge opportunity in your treatment. So again, that's something that talking with clients and even my own personal experiences, sometimes in the hustle bustle of the medical world and stuff like that, doctors don't have the opportunity to have a deeper discussion in that perspective, or it's just not necessarily in their toolbox. Their toolbox can sometimes focus on just reducing symptoms in whatever way that they know how to, and not always looking at the factors contributing to those symptoms. So that's thing number 3. Don't stop at just looking at your immune system performance and treating the immune system as the only source of calming, resolving, getting relief from your food reactions and food challenges. All right, number 4. This is another one that kind of ruffles feathers sometimes. Food allergies, intolerances, and sensitivities do have things in common. You don't hear a lot about the things that they have in common. I think we hear more about the differences, and there's all this divide between these categories, an allergy versus an intolerance and versus a sensitivity. Now, hear me out. Let me explain. Again, I'm not saying that there aren't differences. There are. What I am saying is some of those differences actually funnel down into more commonalities. And I think it's awareness of those commonalities. One, can help us, identify more things that might be contributing to your personal reactions. 2, it can give us a little bit more of a global perspective on, again, how to treat, how to resolve. So what do I mean by this? I'll give you an example. I'll give you 2 examples, okay? One we just kind of talked about. So the thought and belief, and again, this is, I don't want to say fact and I don't want to say belief, but the notion, the statement, I'll put it that way, that food allergies are more related to the immune system and intolerances are more due to or related to digestive system. So that's a big one that people focus on in terms of the difference between the two. One, the difference doesn't necessarily have to mean different in treatment. And two, there's also similarities there. And here's the biggest similarity. You can look up just about any like scientific research, body of research, journals, high level evidence, highly trusted sources, all the way to the other end of the spectrum in just like Google or, WebMD or your other just general health information websites. Across the board, you'll see information that says a large majority of our immune cells are actually found in our intestinal lining. And the last time I checked, the intestinal lining is part of our digestive system. So a non-immune approach to treating intolerances could be missing out on a huge opportunity to help resolve those symptoms and get the external factors and the issues driving those intolerances under control by remembering that a large amount of immune cells are in the intestines. So to say that allergies are kind of almost the only, and if you're listening to this, I'm doing air quotes here. So to say that allergies or diagnosed food allergies are the only type of food reaction that involves the immune system, again, I think just maybe leaving a huge opportunity of healing out across the board. And actually, like in my Food Clues treatment program, we look at the immune system and we look at the immune response across the board. We look at it in terms of our immune cell performance, but we also look at it in terms of where those cells are located. So covering kind of like both ends. So another difference, again, we'll talk about, or we've talked about, or that's very common, is allergies are immune system and intolerances are more digestive system. I also think that's really interesting because when you talk about anaphylactic responses, which is associated with the food allergy specifically, not so much the intolerance, when you talk about anaphylactic responses, some of the key symptoms of an anaphylactic reaction involves things like your lips or your tongue swelling or like your throat closing up. Yeah, those tend to be heavy hitters of symptoms with an anaphylactic response. However, and these are my thoughts. These are what I have found working with clients that help, that help their healing, that helps strengthen my framework so that people get better faster. They get the relief that they want from their food reactions. But these are still just the connections that I'm finding. So I just want to, put that out there. These are my beliefs that I have found based on principles of science, but also what clients have, encountered, what clients have experienced that have helped them move forward. The reason that I say that is because last time I checked, mouth and tongue were part of your digestive system. Throat closing up, a lot of times that can happen. It can happen in, your bronchial airways. There can be inflammation that way, but there can also be inflammation in your esophagus. Your esophagus connects directly to your stomach, which is part of the digestive system. So again, we've got some crossover. The digestive system can be involved in anaphylactic reactions, so it can be involved in food allergies just as much as an intolerance. And there's 70 to 80% of your immune cells in your digestive system, in your intestinal lining. So immune system can be just as involved in intolerances as it is in a food allergy. Do you see the overlap here? Now, I will say one of the big differences between reactions, regardless of how they're diagnosed, or let me say it another way. The difference in reactions to me, and what I have found that, again, helps me work with my clients, is that more severe versus more, mild or moderate reactions helps me appreciate and helps me understand the magnitude of the external factors driving those food reactions. So if you're having more emergent type symptoms, more severe type symptoms, that lets me know that that external factor driving those reactions are probably more involved, more intense. they might involve more organs or more systems, versus somebody with mild or moderate reactions might just involve, those external factors might just involve one system or, one process. So magnitude of symptoms usually corresponds more to magnitude of the external factor. Not necessarily that one is worse than the other, but the magnitude of what's driving it. Not necessarily, and again, not necessarily one diagnosis over another, how it's diagnosed. Let me say that one more time just to kind of pull this last point together. Food allergies, intolerances, and sensitivities, yes, they can have differences, but they also have similarities. And sometimes focusing on the similarities helps everybody, or helps all of those reactions to get better faster and more efficiently. That's thing number one. Thing number two, the differences, or sometimes the diagnosis or the differences between allergy, intolerance, and sensitivity is often connected with severity of the symptoms. And I don't believe severity of the symptoms has to do with the actual reaction diagnosis. The severity of the symptoms more has to do with the magnitude of the external factors driving them. So you can have just as severe and life-threatening of, an external factor that impacts the digestive system, as you can an external factor that impacts immune cells or immune performance. Alrighty, bringing it into home plate is number 5. My number 5 thing that I feel like isn't necessarily talked about in your doctor's office. And that is another heavy hitter. Avoiding your food triggers ultimately can keep you temporarily in a safe space, but is not the best long-term solution for managing your food reactions. Now, I'll put a little caveat on this one, because I just had a previous conversation, or I guess I should say a recent conversation, with a client. And it's that I acknowledge, and we both acknowledged, that nobody wants to avoid as a quote-unquote treatment option. Very few of us want to avoid more and more foods, and avoid more and more places, and avoid more and more, people and outings and connections. Why that happens, or why we see avoidance so much, is simply just because you feel that there's no other option. You don't know that there's another option. You're not being shown other options. I get that 100%. So this is not me pointing like fingers at anybody or blaming any of you who might be listening for like, you shouldn't be avoiding your food triggers. No, you totally should be if that's all you know to do, if you don't know anything else, because that will keep you safe. However, think of it like this. I say this all the time. If you're driving and your check engine light comes on in your car, and you know that that's the signal to take your car to the mechanic because something's going on, and you avoid the check engine light, I'm pretty sure we can all agree that at some point your car is probably going to break down. It's probably going to break down in kind of a significant way, that would really impact your ability to drive the car, number one, but also get to your job, get to friends and family, travel, do what you want to do. Just like your food reactions being the check engine light, your food reactions being the indicator of like, hey, something inside my body needs some attention, needs some help, isn't, quite working the way it is, and not having the resources available to figure out what those problems are, that can lead or open the door for things to materialize, things to change, things to break down, to become dysfunctional. And then the question becomes, how does that affect your body? That's pointing in the direction of why there's so many high statistics for mental illness, chronic illnesses, autoimmune diseases associated with people who also have diagnosed food allergies and intolerances. It's because your food reaction check engine light isn't being addressed, so those external factors that are driving them are left to kind of keep going and festering, and then they start to impact your health in other ways. So, one, that's not my wish for how anybody should live their life. That's just really no way to live, which is why finding the solutions is really, really imperative. So if you feel like avoidance has been, the only thing told to you. One, if you're listening to this podcast right now, you know that there's other ways now. You know that there's other solutions out there. What can those solutions be? One, conceptually, you got to do three things. One, you've got to get with somebody or figure out what your external factors are that are probably driving your allergies, that are probably driving your intolerances, that are probably driving your food reactions and your food challenges. Two, you've got to identify the organs, the systems, and the processes that are being impacted by those external factors. Once you've done that, then you can start looking into how you can start healing your body from the inside out according to natural order of how your body likes to heal. Now, if you're feeling like that just completely blew your mind and you're like, how do I do all that? Two things. One, that is what my Food Clues Total Freedom Program does. It pulls all that together and makes sure that all those things get addressed. But at least you now know the three things to start talking to your doctor about, or having conversations if you're looking for a new practitioner near to you. Those are the components that all have to happen in order for your reactions to finally get under control so that you can take your life back. Get that freedom that you're looking for. Got it? Hope so. So understanding this and knowing that these components are all required is really what's helped me to create the Food Clues framework. That's helped me to get the success with clients. That's helped me to heal my own body. It took me a long time to even realize that I actually had some food allergies. I was getting kind of shuffled from doctor to doctor and just being told I kind of had like gastritis, where I was having symptoms, mild anaphylactic symptoms that I didn't even know about. And just understanding that all of these factors and all of these components are imperative to healing really, really is that key. So, one, I hope those 5 tips or 5 things have been insightful, give you some things to think about. 2, if you found this valuable, share it with a friend. Let somebody else know who might be able to benefit from this information, that there are opportunities for healing. Understanding like the missing puzzle pieces, missing links might be the key to turning around your whole treatment experience so that you can finally conquer your food reactions like you want to. All right, guys? I know sometimes it can feel lonely, but know that I got your back. Make sure that you follow all of my social media so you can keep up to date with what I'm doing, hear more tips, and get more information like this about how the body actually works and heals and what the body needs in order for you to get that food allergy and intolerance freedom that you're looking for. All right, guys, take care. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Food Clues podcast. I hope you found today's talk insightful and inspiring as you navigate your journey towards better health and wellness. Ready to take the first step in conquering your food allergies? Visit www.myfoodclues.com/quiz and take the Food Clues quiz today. In less than 5 minutes, you'll get your first food clue to identify the likely causes of your food reactions. This will be your first opportunity to uncover the hidden factors impacting your health and start your journey towards food freedom. Stay connected by following the Food Allergy Doc on Instagram. Enjoy the Food Allergy Freedom Collective on Facebook, where you'll find a supportive community and valuable resources to help you on your path to wellness. And don't forget to subscribe to the Food Clues podcast so you never miss out on an episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and share it with someone you know. Thanks for listening, and remember, your food clues are the key to conquering your food allergies. Take the quiz, join our community, and let's achieve food freedom together.